Be a little bit quicker with yours um, because I'm kind of just diagnosing the problems here to give you a step towards, um, some of the uh, concerns we're going to be talking about next class anyway. So I feel like this will put you in a good position to do one more revision or editing. So it's good stuff. I'm going to start with the cover letter because I want to just suggest that you work on your reader-centered strategy a little bit in the first paragraph. You got it going. You got the bones of it here. You're impressed. You start by saying you're impressed with Beaumont's rankings in the metropolitan area. I think you need to add something to that, like more specific about what you're impressed with, how they work in this position or this area of the hospital, and just state, how you are doing, various reading about this, right? Or talking to people as you've heard from so-and-so or from various people and from articles such as blah, 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 that they're doing interesting work there or progressive work there or good work there, right? That can be even in the same sentence or it's a new sentence. And I can look at that for you next class if you like. Maybe you're trying to do that anyway, and when you have the second paragraph and you say it is refreshing to know that this was made possible because of the renovations made to serve 24 patients, I think that's great. Maybe just tell us how you found that out, right? And though that's probably pretty cool, I just don't understand what you mean by without any hassle of space. And then the other thing here is you could say, as a pre-pharmacy student at Wayne State University, I would like to intern for the pharmacy at Beaumont Trenton. And don't just say helping patients with their medicine, saying helping how you will help the staff there by saying something like, comma, bringing my diverse skill set, my diverse, don't say diverse skill set, but say specific things. Bringing my developing technical understanding or medical understandings or pharmaceutical understandings, as well as my willingness to learn and interpersonal skills to your unit, department, whatever. Okay? And then it gets pretty tight from there. Maybe mention that when you mention 30/50 and writing, maybe mention it along one other course where you've done some writing or communication, like interpersonal communication stuff. Well, sometimes students say, this is it. And you think, okay, sheesh. But if you could think of another class where you collaborated and worked in teams and things like that, then mention them side by side. Transition in the third paragraph to further my knowledge with the concepts stated above. I've also worked in selling to customers is rough at this point because concepts above, you might say experience. To further my knowledge that I gained in the experiences and courses above, right? Or maybe it's like related to, might just I think change that sentence, throw it out, say something like, I also have enhanced my communication skills through my selling experience or my sales experience. Clearer? The topic sentence there really bothered me. That stood out in the read. Yeah, so that's cool. I think those pretty prescriptive feedback on that. Now, when I look at the resume, and I read through the resume already, I'm just going to open it up again so you can see it in case I need to signal anything on the screen here. And it's coming. There we go. It opens at 2:08 for some reason. Did that last time too. So you might want to copy and paste this to a new file because I don't know how to actually change that. I would do that. Copy and paste this to a new file when you make the changes. Maybe you create it in something other than Word. Oh, getting a meeting reminder. Apologies. There we go. Okay, so a couple things stand out. It's kind of hard to scan in the text. The formatting's all over the place on the right side and in content side. Drop this list, put it in reverse chronological order. Watch the previous video as well, and the same applies to stressing or emphasizing like Wayne State if you want that to stand out, or your GPA, your grade GPA 3.6, you can bold those things, right? But drop these weird numbers here and just use spaces between them so that it's not like one hard thing to read through. And like your volunteer experience is kind of more interesting, right? And your honors awards are kind of more interesting than your work experience, which, fair enough. You have service and sales experience. So maybe move your honors and awards up below your education. Work experience and volunteer experience then come after that. And I don't know if you want your skills section to be here at the bottom as well. Maybe you want it to be before your work experience as well. So it's kind of more of a skills-based resume. And then you're not doing as much to tout your skills as you did in your cover letter. So think about what skills you're really promoting. Interpersonal skills, leadership, improved speech presenting skills is kind of a weird one. And organized at schoolwork and home is also just kind of, too specific almost. Like you could just, say something like, yeah, organizing something, not schoolwork and home, but organizing teams, if you're an assistant coach, organizing practices and teams, and organizing documentation, right? Organizing files and documentation, right? If you want to have two tiers for organized because you organize people and you organize documents, then maybe use a synonym for organized and add that as a sixth skill, right? Make sense? And then if that's at the top, that's also going to let us sort of scan those and change your resume around significantly. Yeah, and activities and interests, this should just be a list as well rather than this like sort of sentence fragment. Student Senate, where, varsity tennis, where, music, what kind, religion, travels. It's too much like these are my interests. So you drop the interests, just put the activities, okay? If you do something impressive with a church, then keep it. If not, drop Christianity. Travels, just drop it unless you organize trips for people or something. Okay, and then, I think the sidebar thing works pretty well. I would move this over a little bit because it's crowding this out a little bit, and this font is way too small. It's 9. It should be 11 at the least. And yeah, you don't need spaces between these awards here. This can be a list and a list, probably a nice 6 cluster, and then have white space between your sections, right? Like right now it's really crammed, and just moving this over is going to give you plenty of room. This is definitely, you've got enough stuff here to make a nicely spaced out white resume. Lots of passive white space here too. Okay, good luck. It's looking pretty good. Talk to you next week.